Hey everybody, it's Charlie at Charlie's Flybox, and here I am sitting with Russ Miller on the water today, and we're going to talk a little bit about fall fishing. And we're not specifically not going to talk about streamer season because that doesn't start for a couple more days.
17th, I think, right?
17th, I think,
Yeah.
is the official
Specifically.
streamer equinox. Is that right?
By the time this video comes out, maybe it'll
It'll have been
we'll be
passed.
in it.
Yes. So generally speaking, fall fishing is different from summer fishing, as we found out pretty solidly today.
I didn't even bring a layer with me.
That layer that you're wearing there is
yours.
borrowed. Yes, it was much colder today. Today is, what is today, the 16th? 16th of September, and it's been nice in town. It's been 80 degrees, and it was, I don't know, what, 60s today?
It was cold.
Yeah, it was cold. So we have sort of dropped directly into fall, and the aspens are showing us that it's there, and so it kind of snuck up on us a little bit. But I think the fishing, my impression of the fishing, at least today, was much more in the depth of fall than end of summer kind of stuff. And making that transition can sometimes be, I guess easier if you're day to day. If you have a couple week gap in between there, what was happening the last time you were out there is not what's happening now.
And not a lot of reason to like get up at daybreak. Not
No,
that I got
no,
to
I'm
your
glad
house
that we
at
didn't.
daybreak,
Yes,
but
yeah, it was darn right cold when we got here. The typical kind of morning bite. We had decent dry fly fishing this morning. We had some tricos, but the typical morning bite was, I don't think we'd have needed to be here at 8 o'clock for sure. So fall is maybe not so bright and early in the morning as you were during the summer when the water temps could maybe warm up during the day. Water temps were fine today. So not so early a start. And honestly, I find the fall fishing to be better dry fly fishing than nymph fishing, or at least more compelling to me. It's not to say that the nymph fishing doesn't happen, but
I don't disagree. But like it's kind of the last hurrah.
yeah, absolutely,
a little bit. It's
absolutely.
like you're gonna put away any kind of sizable drives
Yep.
for micro drives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's nothing better than crisp autumn bluebird
No, it's nice
days
out here today. Yeah.
and dry flies.
Well, and honestly, like the fish not being dumb was kind of fun, and it's like we had a pretty good summer, pretty good solid summer run, and getting into this little bit more techie dry fly fishing, I thought was fun. It wasn't the biggest numbers by the end of the day, but that small stuff and changing flies and mixing it up a little bit and going smaller and smaller and smaller, which, like I say, is a little bit early for me. I'd like to ease into that a little bit more.
It's like a gut punch.
Yeah, it was. Like, yes, usually a size 20 is just plenty. And today maybe we could have had 24s and been a little better off. So it is sneaking up a little bit. The fall bluing olives, we saw a couple PMDs today. Tricos are waning, but they were solid.
It's that like beautiful transition time of year where, like you said, we had some waning summer hatches,
Yep.
some of those classic fall hatches. And like the other thing I always love about fall is like that transition of people too.
Absolutely.
We saw like kind of the hardcore anglers are out
Yep.
here that like, have the rod vaults and everything. But like you lose kind of that recreational crowd.
Absolutely.
And then you get a lot of them that just go off hunting and are scouting their elk stuff.
For sure. Yep. Yeah, we actually had pretty open water all day today too. There's not a person in the parking lot right now.
For a very undisclosed location.
For a very undisclosed location that's never crowded. It's not crowded at all right now. So that was sort of a nice little thing. We did throw a streamer for a little bit, not to talk about streamers prematurely. We did throw a streamer for a little bit and didn't do much of anything on it. I had one fish blow up on it, so that was sort of fun. But I think one of the things in the fall is you kind of get a mixed enough bag that you can sort of pick what you want to do. It's not it's not just nymphing and riffles. It's not just dry fly fishing. It's not just small flies or big flies. I threw a beetle for a little while today.
And it's not just tailwaters either.
No.
The freestones are all going to be super fishable this time of year.
Maybe even more so than the tailwaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that feedback comes on a little bit early just because they know that the winter time is not going to be as good in a freestone as it would be in a tailwater would be.
In which I'm a big fan of that. because this is what we'll do all winter.
Right,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
We got
It's
plenty
like,
of chance to do this.
I
Yeah.
kind of avoid tailwaters almost specifically to go chase freestones or do whatever you want
During
to
the
do,
summer,
lakes
sure.
or anything, before it's just like,
Yeah, before the tailwater is the only option.
correct.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But they're still a fantastic. I mean, if that's what you've got close and you love them, it's a time to celebrate them.
Any fishing is good fishing,
Yeah,
except for nymph fishing under an indicator.
that's why you're on it, bro.
And Euro nymphing. Why I Euro nymph bro. Yeah. I'm going to write that down.
You should.
I will.
Could be a compelling hashtag out
Hey,
there.
we stopped at the gas station this morning, just while I'm thinking of this. What on the river snack did you pick out today, Russ Miller?
Wrap snacks.
Wrap snacks.
Icon.
Wrap
Snoop Dogg.
snacks. Snoop Dogg wrap snacks.
OG barbecue cheddar. Snoop Dogg flavored potato chips.
Snoop Dogg flavored?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Wow.
I know. And let me read you the little tagline on the back because my nizzle. Make every opportunity count. Stay focused, be relentless, and do whatever it takes to master your craft.
I think we should have started the day with those. That might have helped.
I
today.
mean, that if that doesn't define who I am as a human,
Especially at this point in the day. I mean, you were relentless.
this
I
was
don't
an
know about
overpriced chip.
I don't know about how focused. Yeah, they're not very good. I'll say that.
A little review of the chip.
Well, I mean, if you make them eat another one.
Yeah, your Max. Wrap snacks. For you and a friend.
Out of 10, 4. Yeah.
It's a low rating. Damn.
I was going to aim at 3, but I was being generous.
What do you think, Russ?
How's your focus and relentlessness level
I
after
haven't
eating a
finished
couple?
the bag yet, but after a good initial look at it, I'd give it a 6.3.
Wow.
It's better than a Lay's.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't.
It's got a good crisp.
I disagree. Have you had a Lay's potato chip?
Yeah, I show you guys mowing
did.
on just
We did,
the original classics
Original
earlier.
brand name chips.
It's got an interesting little
Just admit
zest
it.
with cheddar.
The name is what got you.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Wrap snacks.
Wrap snacks.
Wrap snacks.
I'm a cool guy.
I bet I could make that into a fly name.
Hey, not a paid advertisement.
Not a paid advertisement. No, we're getting nothing for this.
Although, if Snoop Dogg did want to do a collab, we had some ideas we were throwing around earlier. Just reach out. We're easy to find.
Reach out to Russ.
We're easy to find, Snoop Dogg.
He was the 6.3. But back to fall fishing. It's actually turning into just like a nice little afternoon here. Now the sun has come out for the first time.
What flies you like in the fall?
Oh boy. So heavy on blueing olive stuff, generally speaking. Both nymph and dry. Mole is always one of my favorite flies. And it's generally gets the job done. I will go home and tie some smaller ones. I did not anticipate the bugs being as small as they are already. Like I said, pretty quick transition from summertime to fall. And solidly into fall. Like I say, does not feel like the beginning of fall.
Although, the size of flies we were fishing would have been, I feel like, generally very acceptable on a freestone. Typically larger flies. That tailwater stuff, man, that's, as you said, scale it back.
Tiny little bug.
The other thing I love, is just kind of like you're at the tail end of like the attractor season. We were up on the Colorado yesterday and like fished some ants. It's just good general attractors
Sure.
up tight to the bank, and it's kind of that last little terrestrial burst too on
Sure,
the water.
sure.
As you said, that kind of transition between our summer bug and
And being able to fish, little stuff if you want, or a little bit bigger stuff, and still standing a chance. I like it.
I like anything with a black nickel bead typically in the fall.
Do you? Why is that?
I just like black nickel beads.
Oh,
It's nothing more than that.
nothing more than that. How do you feel about silver bead? Tell me this? Do you think being world champion,
No,
well,
but
parking lot champion, Euro nympher, Team America? Tell me, in your Euro nymphing experience, now we're off subject, we're going to just go with this. What role do you think bead color plays in your flies?
I think a lot personally. And if you talk to like Euros that are, if you look at open their boxes, it's a pheasant tail box and it's just different bead sizes and bead colors. Same
Same fly.
pheasant body behind it. and they have a lot of grayling fisheries, so it's different than ours. But they will say, "Oh, today they're on," and they just list a bead color. I do feel like there are a lot of days where you can just silver bead,
Silver bead, sure.
black nickel. They wanted that. That those overcast days. I feel like that black nickel is like, and this is super dorky, but like that black nickel bead is just kind of that enough reflection for that emergent state of a bug, especially on gray days, that it's like the right amount of sheen flash to make a beadhead nymph come alive.
Do you find silver is better on a bright day?
Yeah, I like silver on that real flashy bright
That's
day.
been my experience with that as well.
And I think and copper would be my third favorite. After that, everything kind of like
Just wherever it fits in. Yeah, just odd ones.
yeah.
So
But pink can be good on certain days, but I think it's eggy kind of days. Which fall. That kind of relates into eggy kind of days.
yeah, we didn't see any fish on reds or anything yet. Not really any. I think I only caught a couple of browns today, but no color to them yet. So we're early for that, which is nice, knowing that's still out there for the next time we go.
Yeah, they'll be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, a little more colored up. It is awfully pretty out, I will say that. Max, we just had to have Max move the camera in. Max was just trying to get the entire range behind us in the viewfinder for y'all, so you could see all the colorful fall foliage, as Max likes to call it. He is a huge foliage fan. Nerd.
I don't know. Personally, I think if I could choose one season to fish our state in perpetuity, it would probably be the fall.
Really?
It is probably my favorite. Visually, I'm maybe
hard
a
to beat.
foliage nerd like Max. It is visually the best.
It is beautiful.
And especially knowing that the state is largely just going to brown out for the next 6 months. Take it in while you
Pack
get
in the
it.
last bit of beauty that you can. Yeah, I guess that's what keeps us coming back. Yeah, that. Yeah,
Is the brown colors of
that
February?
you know that eventually it's going to turn green again, because it does seem like winter's a long time here.
Yeah, so I love that, and I mean across the whole state, even some of that high country stuff before it closes out, that first dusting of snow is kind of, we're right on the cusp of some of that, and
Yeah, definitely.
it's beautiful up there in those cutthroat will hammer, the western slope, getting the rivers, like floating the Colorado or something like that, and all the willows are just torched yellow, and like, I don't know, it doesn't suck staring at your dry dropper rig.
Absolutely.
Against that all day long.
Well, and to speak of dry droppers, I mean that's the thing is the in the fall you can that dry in your dry dropper rig as a bigger hopper or chubby, something like that. I mean, there's a viable chance still to get plenty of fish to eat it. To the point where you can almost take the dropper off some days. You've never done that, have you? Taking the
Russ,
dropper
what would
off.
be some of your favorite droppers?
Favorite dropper nymphs?
Yes, commercially available.
Um,
Maybe top 3.
From Charlie Craven and Umpqua Feather Merchants, specifically.
let's see. 2-bit would be top of the list.
It doesn't have to be mine.
I like a heavy.
You can tell the truth.
I like a heavy fly. There's a lot of Eurotrash I like. I like a Duracell. I think that one always
great fly.
fishes
Great fly.
well, and it's kind of one of those you don't know why it fishes well, right?
Sure.
Like, you and I talked about that years ago. The Duracell.
Absolutely, yeah. Just
And
brownish gray bug about yay long. Yep, silver bead.
I mean, they crush. As silly as it sounds, a Frenchie's one of my favorites.
I knew you were going to say that.
It crushes fish. That's a Lance Egan bug. Let's see, what else do I always grab? We call them the Quildagon.
Yes.
It's
Skinny little.
I love that kind of fly.
Sure.
Like it's so much of everything and nothing combined
nothing
into one.
specifically.
And whether it be just a single or you're doing that in tandem, under an indicator or fishing a 3-fly rig, like it's gonna get eaten if you keep it wet. And that's how I feel about like the 2-bit series. Is like you keep those wet, they're gonna get eaten. Slender body, like heavy.
Yeah, I think fly design these days has. I think a lot of people have gotten onto it. That a skinny fly sinks faster than a fat fly, and a fly that's heavy and skinny sinks faster than everything. And
it's crazy.
That is the key to catching fish: is getting the fly down and keeping it down there.
Yeah, especially if you're just gonna like hunt a bank out of a drift boat. You know what I
Absolutely,
mean? Like
absolutely.
You're just like, all right, well, every cast I'm down in.
Yeah,
the
immediately
stuff.
down where it needs to be. It stays there. Yeah.
I went to. It was interesting. I went to the Catskills Fly Fishing Museum a few weeks ago, and like saw all these original Catskill dries from like late 1800s.
They didn't have any perdigons there, did they?
No, but what's so interesting, it was all dry flies. Some wets, not bad, some wets. But like all of them were these very ultra thin bodied flies,
Sure.
light hackling, which is kind of this newer trend we're
Yep.
seeing is very, very old school patterns
Yep.
that are updated,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Which I think they get eaten crazy good.
Yeah, when I was a kid learning to tie, I had a little. It wasn't a book; it was a pamphlet. But one of the things that it said, and this was like when I was 8 or 9, when I was very first learning to tie, it said, "Tie them thin, and you will win." And at the time, I had no idea what that meant. But here
Many
we are,
years
here we
later.
are, 40 years later, like skinny works, and in almost every case, you're better off with a thinner dress fly. I like fat, juicy flies, attractor dries. I like that. Kind of
that
stuff.
to
And
me
tie
that
mine
is
thick.
summertime.
Yeah,
Like,
that's summertime stuff. But
Hulks.
just as we were out there picking out flies, like you pick out the sparsest, skinniest little thing, and that's I try to keep that in mind when I sit down and tie. During the winter months is like, I'm always thinking like, I just need something a little sparser, a little skinnier, a little, less stuff on the hook. What can I do to, in the case of the dry fly, make it still float, but just barely. And it seems like that stuff, particularly when you get a fish that's being tough. One of my rules has always been make your fly harder for you to see. So it's got to be smaller or darker or sparser or lower floating, and that is always the answer. One of those things is always the answer, and you just don't seem to ever have enough smaller, sparser, darker stuff in your box, because during the winter you get bored tying and you start tying parachute Adams for summer when it's fun.
Right, yeah.
And
Dreaming of summer.
Yeah, and you don't fill in the bullets that you didn't have the last time either. So I'm going to go do that today. Not today, tomorrow maybe.
Tonight we're gonna relax.
We are going to relax. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, Betas to me is like I know you're talking about flies. To me, it's still the fall. It's the fall bug.
I agree.
That's the fall
I agree.
bug. And that's where that quildagon to me is like money, because it's, strip peacock, just sexy little body,
Sure,
Betasy.
sure. Now, had you walked up today and we had rising fish when we walked up, had you not seen that, what would you have gone to? What would have been your go-to starters?
For flies, I've never fished here before. That's how secret this location is. Looking at the water, outside of the flat stuff, I probably would have stopped in some of that cool pockety water and pulled out the Euro rod and done a dry dropper in there. Mm-hmm. And I probably would have put on one of those little quildagons. Sure. And I probably would have put on a super small, as big of a Betas as I could float, probably an 18, and just pocket waterfish that.
And just pop.
And with the Euro rod, you're not relying on the
dry to hold it up.
Hold anything up.
Sure.
So it can
Sure.
act as an individual dry that does its little thing in a little 6-inch leash around your leader.
Right.
And then that other dropper is just, like a 2.5 mil, something that's not too heavy, but get down in there. That's probably what I would have done. But I was so happy we saw rising fish.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Had you done that, I would have sat and watched you. I get plenty of chance to net fish, so I would have.
Yeah, thank you. It would have been great to have some notes on that.
It would have. I was hoping at some point
You're
today.
doing it wrong.
Well, and we had plenty of
notes on dry fly fishing.
Armchair quarterbacking today from our cameraman. Yeah.
It was nice watching Max get in the water for a few minutes at least.
It was, and I think we went easy on him. Really.
I think our silence said enough.
Volumes. Yes, it did. Well, I don't know. That's my feelings on fall fishing. You got anything to add to that? It's awfully good. It is it's not the end of the season, but it seems like the end of the variable season for the most part.
There's one other thing I love about fall, maybe two, that we haven't talked about is, and we touched on it, diversity. You know what I
Yes.
mean? If you go out fishing, there's a number of rods in your car for a number of different scenarios you could find yourself in, right? Which I always think is really fun to kind of challenge yourself.
And
like,
see which one it's going to be.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
all right, I just want to bang my head against the wall and catch one on a streamer. Okay, like I'll grab that big heavy rod and just like slug some stuff out there until
Sure.
something wants to kill it. Or you could, pick up a dry fly rod and throw delicate dries on a super long leader. You could Euro-nymph. Like you could do a million different things. The other thing, you know this, you're the only reason you have, I might be one of the only reasons you have tube flies in the store.
You
But
are.
like steelhead is right around the corner and
Sure.
actually like pulling out the trout spay rod and like warming up the swinging a few runs for some fish. Like you get that aggressive, grabby nature. And,
Sure.
The reason I love swinging flies this time of year, again, is back to like the foliage nerd where you're just like, you can kind of set your swing and like,
And just look off in the distance.
which is a lot of fun.
Sure.
And again, like diversity. You can do it a million different
Well,
ways.
and we talk about this in the shop. Like we enjoyed the kind of techie dry fly fishing. Today particularly was not super successful. We caught fish, but it was fun techie dry fly fishing.
And you're like in this.
Yeah, you're in the zone, and even when Max was fishing, we're all three standing there watching it. Everybody. I just find that very interesting.
Yeah.
The puzzle piece. Fly fishing is I think what's so compelling about it is that it is a puzzle, and you never have all the answers. No matter how much you do it or how good you get at it, you never have all the answers. So there's always those little pieces that you get to tweak. And the fall, the summer is good enough where you can do a lot of things wrong and still catch them. In the fall, the water's lower. You're using a longer leader. There's some wind. Everything's just narrowed down and a little more focused. So I think it's pretty compelling. This is the time of year that sort of gets me through the winter because you're thinking like smaller, sparser, skinnier. For as long as you can stand that to kind of get the box restocked. And both of those small skinny flies that I tied last year, I think Max lost today.
You tied that knot?
Oh, sorry. The camera wasn't rolling, but you should have seen the hook set on 6X on this thing.
I did. I can witness that. Yes.
I haven't fished
Yes.
6S in a long time.
So I did tie the
Apparently,
knot.
you haven't fished anything less than 3X in a long time.
I mean, we're being honest.
I had to show Max the knot on the second fly I tied on.
Just to approve.
Would you like to do it
That
yourself?
yes. In your defense, that was a hell of a hook set.
It could have been a bad knot. You never know.
It could have
There
been.
you go, Max.
Think you're going to catch one in front of us?
I bet you're not.
Defense mechanism there. But yeah, I think that's a good comment too, just on tippet size. We've all been kind of coming off this big, heavy-handed world. Maybe you took some trips further up north and got
Sure.
really heavy-handed. I mean, it's back to the light, wispy stuff,
Yep.
and the presentations love it. We had some little gusty wind today, but you throw out that long 6X leader and you'd watch it go like before it lands.
Yeah.
And you're like 3X doesn't do that. It delivers.
It goes exactly where you want it.
But then on the reverse side of it, you get those awesome kind of presentations that catch a weird pocket and you watch your fly do this little circle and drift a little bit like a
maybe
natural.
put just the right amount of slack in it.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It is. This is a fun time of year. We're not done yet. We're gonna maybe get out one more time, 2 more times. Max will get out 32 more times.
Exactly.
But we had today, and that's what we've got to remember for right now.
Yeah, and it might be the time to hang up the wet wading socks. That might be true.
I would not be wading wet today.
I brought them.
Did you?
That's where my head was at. I was like, dude, we are
Summer. I think
baby.
we were all surprised that this was not as summery time fishing as we hoped it would be. But that's what we got.
It's what it is.
It is. That's what fishing is. It just turns out what it turns out. So, all right. Well, I think that's all we got. Yeah. Russ has nothing more to add.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Take care.